Let's talk about your dreams. The dreams that you have on your minds, in your hearts, and maybe even in your guts. I really mean it. What are you dreaming about? Is it something big, like traveling the world? Is it something seemingly smaller, balancing work and life? Or I would even say having a right rhythm of work and life? Or is it something smaller, like maybe having more meaningful connections with your loved ones? And don't you wonder sometimes how you can actually make those dreams into reality? And maybe connect these dreams even to what is next in my career and life? Or do some of you sometimes even ask themselves the little question, what shall I do with my life? It turns out that as humans, we have certain beliefs that sometimes stand in the way from actually putting our dreams into action. One of them is we think we have to have a lot of clarity before we take the action. While in reality, by doing the action, we actually get the clarity. So action first, and then comes the clarity. My talk will be all about equipping you with 3 life design principles that will hopefully give you more clarity for your dreams to come true, will give you more clarity to decide what's next. And with this, I hope you will also get into action and you will see what it takes to be a life designer. And in the process of doing so, you will also get to know the 3 magic words of having meaningful conversations for the rest of your lives. Are you guys ready for this? Let's maybe try this one more time. Are you guys ready for this? Okay. Right, perfect. So let's get started. You guys all have dreams, right? I have the pleasure to work with hundreds and thousands of people around the world, and my 15 to 30-year-olds, they oftentimes either have no options or too many options to choose from, and they stay indecisive, still having big dreams. My 30 to 50-year-olds know exactly what they don't want anymore in their lives, but oftentimes not what to do instead, and they're dreaming about doing their own thing. And then my people 50 plus, I call them the second half of life, they wonder what else is going to come. Can I still put my dreams into action? And I wonder what's going on with you right now. What dreams are on your mind? Please take a moment. What kind of dream do you have on your mind? Is it a big life dream? You always wanted to open a restaurant or a bar? Is it something in between, bringing more of your passion into your jobs, or finally starting that side hustle about something you truly care for? Or is it something seemingly small, maybe waking up more positive or having more peace of mind? Whatever it is, please have a thought about it. It can be something very specific, writing a book, but it can also be something very generic, even fuzzy, like, I want to do more with people. And I have even no idea what I mean if I say this. All is good. I'm going to take you on a journey. So you all have an idea somehow? You all have a dream, more or less? I see a lot of nodding faces. So let me take you on a journey, and let's see what you can take away from this journey from a guy called Hans. Hans is 74 years old, and he dreamt all his life about being a mountain guide. And he came to me and he said, well, you know, all the people around me, they say, well, why don't you just chill, Hans? And aren't you too old? And why are you doing this anyway? Right? So as a life designer, the first thing we do is we move from negativity, even criticism, to appreciation, curiosity, and empathy. And empathy is actually not so easy to do, because as humans, we have a tendency to be sympathetic. If somebody was on the mountains on Sunday, and they tell you, hey, it was so cool, my sympathetic reaction is, oh yeah, I was also in the mountains 3 weeks ago. Isn't it great to be in the mountains? However, I have no idea whether what they say as their mountains in me is the same thing. However, if I replace sympathy with empathy, and somebody tells me I was in the mountains, my only option is, and here comes the 3 magic words, being empathetic is, tell me more. Tell me more opens you up for a conversation, and it helps that person to talk about what they thought was great by being in the mountains. So you help them to move from a seemingly superficial observation to the underpinning values and beliefs. And so I did with Hans, right? Hans said, I want to be a mountain guide. So what is my option as a life designer? That's so cool. Tell me more about it. And Hans did. And he said, I want to be outdoors, but I also want to have responsibility. I want to have a sense of freedom, and I also want to connect with others. So that's great, right? So that's a great starting point. And by doing this, we're also getting out of this either-or thinking, dichotomous either-or thinking. Can I become a mountain guide or not? No, we move from a dichotomy to a more differentiated thinking. And we try to understand what is behind this idea of being a mountain guide. What does this mean for you, Hans? Because there might be 5 people having the idea of being a mountain guide, but you have 5 different reasons for it. All my students now want to become entrepreneurs, and I have 10 students that want to become entrepreneurs, and I have 10 reasons why they actually want to do it. Right? So the first thing is moving from negativity to more curiosity and empathy. So I get this idea of why Hans wants to be a mountain guide, and I take this as an insight, and I try to use these insights to create a mini experience. Because the trick then is to move from overthinking something, waiting for clarity to happen, to think, what is a small experience I could create? What is a small experiment, a small prototype even I could be doing, and moving from 0 to 1%? Because that's the thing. Not only clarity, but also motivation doesn't come at 0%. The trick is, how do you move yourself from 0 to 1%? What is a low-risk prototype or experiment you could be doing that is not giving you it's not costing you a lot of money, time, or engagement? What is something small? So we ideated with Hans. You can watch a Netflix documentation. You can talk to somebody who's a mountain guide. Or, as Hans said, he figured out there was like a beginner weekend going to try it on a small scale, right? And Hans went on the beginner weekend, and then he came back, and guess what he said? I don't want to be a mountain guide. I said, what happened, Hans? And he said, I like being outdoors, I like to have responsibility, but man, this physical exercise was just putting stress, And honestly, and that's the interesting thing, right? If you try something, again, the human tendency is to say, so, did it work or not? Was it good or bad, right? But that's not putting us in the moment of learning and growth. So the only option you have for yourself and for other people is, if they did something, you say, what did you learn? Because by asking about the learning, you open them up to say, what was good? What was maybe also difficult? But also what else was going on? Maybe some surprises. And again, I asked Hans, what did you learn, right? And he said all of these things I said before. It was great to be outdoors, but man, this pace was giving me so much stress, And then he said, and I didn't know I want to do this, but I want to do this in my terms, at my speed of sound, right? So that's a great insight he got just from spending a weekend doing this. So what are we going to do with this? The interesting thing, and here's where the real magic comes into play. If you start to talk to people about your life dreams, if you get yourself out there doing a small experience, something really magic happens. Somebody heard Hans and said, wait, hold on a second, Hans. Did you know that you can become a steward for mountain trails? He said, no, what's that? Well, if you become a steward for mountain trails, you're supposed to hike that trail 4 times a year. You have to take picture if there's any issues, and you have to report them back. And guess what? Hans is now a steward not only of 1, but of 2 mountain trails. And since there's a community of stewards, and they do regular barbecues, he also gets the notion of togetherness in it. Right? So the learning here really is what distinguishes a life designer from a non-life designer is you approach your own dreams and the dreams of others with empathy by asking, tell me more. You turn these insights into small experiments and experiences, and then you navigate with these experiences with a learning attitude and ask yourself, what can I learn here in that sense? So you have something you work towards with, you prototype your way towards this, but you also stay open to alter your path and maybe make a different choice. So not becoming the mountain guide, but being actually the steward. So what are you going to do? I hope these mini principles give you some insights. I hope they will have you not procrastinate and wait for clarity to happen, but actually to do something and create clarity by doing something. And I wish you all the best. Let me know how it's going. And if you have forgotten everything about my talk, I hope you still remember the 3 magic words for meaningful conversations for the rest of your lives. Tell me more. Thank you.